Okay, now it's being recorded. Can you see that? You see this red stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've not been recording since. All right. So but in any case, we can proceed now. So so what I was saying, what I would need,
Mhm.
of course, is I would need a rendered view. Meaning, of course, you need to manipulate your cameras properly and place your camera. So say for example, let me add in a camera. A camera, right?
Mhm.
So this is the camera, and bring it up here. If you want, I think all these things I believe I mentioned them, but if you want your camera to let me just mention them again for reference, to snap to the view you are currently on. Like I'm looking at this from this angle, or maybe I'm looking at this bottle from this angle right now, and I want the camera to snap to that angle. What I will do is I'll press Control Alt 0, and the camera will snap to that angle. Okay, so this bulk rectangular stuff, what is inside, that's what the camera will see. So that is what will be
Okay.
rendered out. So I want your rendering to be well framed in such a way that it captures all the details, all the information that I need. And since you're rendering a picture, I want it to be more high quality. And the way to do that, in your rendered option, in your rendered in your file format here, this output rather, this output.
Mhm.
Once you click on this output, I would like you to render number one. You're rendering in 4K ish. Also, what you do is you can just use this preset, right? And click
Okay.
on maybe 4K UHD TV. That's 2160p.
Mhm.
So number one, you can click that. By default, it's going to change your resolutions to 2K. This
Mhm.
resolution that's 380 40 pixel by 2160 pixels. So now, apart from that, I would like to change this percentage to well, the higher this is, the much longer, and I noticed that the length of time is kind of exponential. So as it is, let's assume as it is 100% now, let's assume it takes 5 minutes to render, right? If you change it to 200, usually I can see something like 20 minutes. I don't know. It's usually exponential, if in my own opinion. But what I want is I want as high resolution as possible. So let's just say something like 250 or 300. Okay. So it's
Okay.
what that does is it makes your actual object sharp. Like the details is going to be more sharper, so it doesn't get pixelated more easily. Like when you zoom in on pictures, it gets to a point where it gets pixelated.
Mhm.
So that this reduces that effect and makes it more sharper. So yeah, that's what I want. And then of course, because you are rendering just a frame, it's important that this needs to be one. So your start frame and end frame is going to be 1 1. Okay.
Okay.
And then of course the output is going to be on your computer. You navigate to wherever you want to save the file to, and then you save there. All right, so that's up to you. Okay, so but basically those are the major settings you need to change. Now of course I'm guessing you would have added your lighting, and in case you add your lighting and it's not bright enough, you can try to come to this world and increase the setting. Okay, no, you're not using world lighting completely, so that might not apply to you properly. If only be using HDRI. Hmm. Are you following me? Do you or am I saying things that are incorrect?
I am
Be
following
honest.
you.
Be honest. Be honest.
No, I am following you.
All right, good. So you know what HDRI is, all right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So okay, good. You know what HDRIs are. So you let me see. It depends on the scene. So I've not really concluded on which particular scene you'll be modeling, but just have it in mind. You'll be modeling. It will look something like this: a spiral staircase with a grand piano, and then the bottle you model on top of it. Um, I'm inclined to make you want to put the jet engine, but it's just out of place in the scene. So so there's no jet engine. Okay, so um,
Okay.
yeah. I would have wanted you to. Okay, you still have the file for the POS machine,
Yes.
and you made all the corrections from the last class.
Yes. Let me pull it up again. I
Mhm.
see. I.
So I would have
I.
wanted you to add that in, but it's going to be out of place in the scene. But you know what? Um, maybe we can add it. Okay. So
Okay.
just place the just in a spirit of showcasing. So place the POS machine on the grand piano also. So just put it somewhere here. Then the bottle will be on the other side or something. And then yes, I want the grand piano to have a seat. Okay,
Okay.
so maybe let's open this one up. Yeah, something like this. Well, I think I'm liking this scene. So something like this. Now for the paintings on the wall, yeah, you whatever scene you're going to be creating is going to have paintings on the wall. So let me use this. So for the painting of the wall, I mean the adding textures is going to be same method, straightforward, right? The way you add the image texture.
Okay.
I think I added, no, the exercise we did, I added my picture on top of a cube, something like that.
Yes.
So it's basically like that. That's principle also. So that's how I create the painting on the wall. You can use any painting you like. As a matter of fact, I would want, yes, I think this is important. Use your pictures, any of your nice pictures. Who knows? A lady might be a nice lady might be spied across your project. You're laughing. Oh, okay. Oh, I should ask. Are you married?
No, I am not married.
Okay. Are you in a relationship?
No, I'm not in a relationship.
Okay, good. So who knows? I mean, it's, you might see someone nice. Someone nice might come across. I'm like, who made this awesome project? And the person sees the picture, like, the guy looks cute. Maybe I'd like to reach out to I mean, anything could happen. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Not just on a
Okay.
lighter note, but get the point. So I want your pictures. You want to put nice pictures, of course. So your pictures on the wall. So I want at least three wall frames. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe I should note this down so I don't forget all the things I need from you. Where's my jota? Give me a second. I can't find my jota. All right, okay. Yeah, here we go. All right, so 3 frames, 3 wall frames. A second. Features, okay. 3 wall frames, or picture frames. Okay. Bearing your picture, right? The grand piano, okay, you include the water bottle from first assignment. Then number 3, the POS machine. Number 4, of course, the grand piano. I'm guessing the grand piano might be the one that will give you the most trouble. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So for that and that alone, I may give you the license to reach out to me during the week if you have any problem. Or maybe I can just try and model something just to give some pointers on the procedures of how to go about it. Okay, just give me a second. We'll do a bit of exercise together now. Or maybe, you know what, Da Silva, you can share your screen. Sorry, you said you're ready, so you can share your screen and let's see
Okay.
what you're showing us. We can't see your screen here too.
I'm coming. Still navigating around it.
Okay, I thought you have it open up already.
It's open already. So I don't know if you can see my Blender screen now.
Yeah, it's up. No, we can see your entire screen. Oh no, I think it's just your web page.
No, that's not. Let me check again. That's not what you're showing.
No, I think that's what you accidentally selected. You were saying only
So
your
once
web
we share
page.
the blender, let me share again.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's supposed to be sharing like this.
No, yeah. I think what you did was you shared only the web page scene, so web page screen. So
Okay, I think it's working. Can you see my screen now?
yeah, we can say okay, good. Yeah, we can say.
So
All
it's like I
right.
think it's about 3 bedroom. Let me eye the roof so I can check the interior properly, or let me zoom in.
I can zoom in. Okay, so this is good. Great job.
So
Great job.
this is like
Awesome.
the parlor.
Okay.
I think
Awesome.
I have a room around here. Let me see if I can open this door.
Okay, good. Good.
I haven't placed this one
Yeah, that's
properly.
great.
My watch is on the floor.
That's good. You can use if you want to view everything. Enable backface calling for the walls now, so you can. So it might be easier for you to go around.
Yes. I don't want this thing to crash, so I'm actually taking it slowly. I'm coming. 1 second. Let me zoom out.
I understand. I understand.
So basically, these are like the top part. I
Oh
have
yeah,
a kitchen
yeah,
around here. It
yeah.
contains the
Fantastic. Great.
kitchen and stuff. I have it is a walk-in closet for the master bedroom.
Okay, that's great. Is it going
Then
to
I have
be enabled for VR? Is it going to be
no, not
integrated
really.
in VR?
So basically, what I was working on for this one was we wanted to like do a product commercial. For
Okay.
example, let's say Jumia wanted to like launch a drone to deliver foods. So it's like a
Oh yeah. Okay.
concept art such that you actually
Yeah.
can like show like, oh, if you want to like advertise for your products, you can call us.
Yeah.
So the idea was around just model a basic environment filled with, let's say, 20 buildings around with road networks and all. And then there are like
Okay.
two properties of this nature, this exact building spec. One for
Yeah.
one representing Jumia's office and the other one representing the house of the client. So ideally,
Okay.
maybe somebody orders from this house, and then from there, from Jumia's office, which you have on the scene, the drone picks up an item from the office and then it navigates down to this spot to deliver. So some teams will actually be working on the animation, some will be working on the VFX and stuff. So
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
So I'm
I
actually
think
currently. Hello?
you said you're currently what?
I'm currently in the middle of modeling the environment, like populating the environment with buildings. Currently, I still need to like edit these buildings, textures, do bungalows and stuff. So by the time I'm done filling the whole environment with buildings around, with road network, then I can set camera angles and the likes before I can proceed to the next step.
Okay. I think that's fantastic. Actually, that's fantastic. That's great. So I just wanted to ask an experiential question from experience. The first ever, will I say gig, or yeah, the first ever gig you took on Blender. You said you take gigs now, right? You were taking gigs.
I do.
So the first ever gig you took, like the first ever paid job you did on Blender, what was the experience like? Like, did you feel like you were up to it, or you just kind of gambled, or I don't know. Tell me about that.
I think it's just a case of, I know if I get stuck, I will just go and sleep on YouTube, check a tutorial to see how to like achieve certain things, and then go back and then try. For example, when I was working on some parts, that was when I learned how to use Boolean. In some cases, I learned how to use array, and it's just a case of try and error until you get to what you are trying to like achieve.
Exactly. Brian, are
even
you
right
hearing
on
this?
Yes.
Even right to the point of when I was working on an outfit, I think was it not Agbada for a character? I know most
You
of these
use
3D
Blender or
softwares
use
they don't do. I use Blender. I use for 3D softwares for clothing. I use Style 3D. I use Marvelous Designer. I use Clo 3D and the likes. So most times I just know, go to YouTube, keep searching, you will see what you're looking out for, and then
Yeah, exactly.
download the high quality videos, and then follow along till you get the hang of it.
University of YouTube.
Yeah.
So fantastic. So that's it, Brian. That's tied to what I was trying to explain. So, usually, I personally discovered that my skills take dramatic improvement whenever I hit like a hurdle, or maybe I take on a project that seems like overwhelmingly impossible. Like, oh, how am I going to achieve this? I've never done this before, and I attempt it. That's when my skill, because it will force you and galvanize you to learn new concepts, new skills, deal with new tools, new new areas in Blender. Makes you explore different aspects, right? And that will propel you to learn learn more concepts. So, like the saying goes, necessity is the mother of innovation. So it's like, because you have to, then you are forced to learn new concepts. And after you're complete with the project, like, wow, I over the course, just because of the project, I was able to learn this, learn that. I'm dramatically improved. So I would implore you, even after this weekend code, Brian, to take on challenges. I think that's the thing. Do hard things. Take on challenges. It will really help you to. As a matter of fact, you can actually just get to take on some projects, like some actual paid projects. Okay. Now you don't need to front as a beginner or something like that. Just take on projects like, yes, you're a professional, you can do it. And once you get paid, I mean, that pressure will be like, oof, you have a client that's paid you and would definitely demand results. So that will galvanize you to want to learn. How do I do this? Ooh, I got stuck. Now I go to University of YouTube. You learn something else. Ask GPT. That kind of thing. So yeah, take on the hard stuff. Take on the hard task. That's some of my tips that I'll give to you. All right. So thank you, Da Silva. I don't know. Do you develop VRs? You Da Silva?
I have actually worked on a few VR stuff, but currently I'm actually on DLA accelerator program. It's basically a game and XR kind of it's not a bootcamp per se, because basically we already have some experience. So it's like you collaborate with people from different parts of Africa. You build projects around maybe your skill niche, and after a couple of weeks, if your project makes the cut, then you get into the accelerator program, and who knows, you could actually go ahead to like pitch your product in some countries. So I know last year they went to pitch theirs in, I think, Paris or so. So I'm juggling up that currently, and I just need to like finish up with most of what I'm doing, so I can actually practice more on AR VR part and push out passion projects.
Okay. That's fantastic. Actually, that's fantastic. That's great. Yeah, you also did great stuff. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So this, by the way, thank you for sharing that, Da Silva. And yeah, I'm sure you still, of course, everybody's still learning. I'm still learning. We're still improving. We're still going wild with our skills and stuff. So yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. So yeah, Da Silva, also the project is not limited to Brian. You also should do the project, so you can get the recognition from XR, African XR community also. Okay. And then yeah, of course. So you heard all the criteria that I was listing out for Da Silva. I did. For Brian.
I heard everything. Do I
Yeah, so
maybe the only thing I don't know is I don't know what the timeline will be like when we're going to submit, because I'll most likely have to like breach through between now and next week to work on the POS and the other things, so I can actually fit them in to work first on that part. But I know the hardest part will literally be the piano, because from what I've seen from background piano, it has several shapes. Some are actually obtruding. So it's basically, maybe I'll have to like do some sketching to break it down in pieces before I can open my Blender.
I was going to make the final project be just the grand piano, but I'd be like, that's too easy for you guys. No, you guys can do more. I mean, especially Brian. Brian is a professional now, so Brian, I'm sure that's child's play for you. Come on, it's insulting to your skill level. So yeah, so I added some things, some more like the spiral stairs, and we'll tweak your knowledge of how to manipulate the array modifier procedurally to create that. So you can actually do it manually, but I mean, why would you do it manually when they are modifiers for you? So yeah, and then Yes, one thing I think I should talk about it now. But I think we spoke about curves, right? Brian, remind me.
Yeah,
I know.
but I think on a basic level, I don't think I
Ooh,
remember much.
sorry, my bad. I
Yeah.
thought I.
So,
Oh, okay. Let me share my screen. I think. Let me know if I'm sharing. Because you will definitely be using curves here. You could do without the curves, but it's trust me, you want to use the curves. So so for the this for the what do you call it? I'm sharing my screen now. For the wall for the guardrails for the spiral stairs, right? So that's when you're using
the
the
curves.
curves. So let me hide everything first to show you what I mean. So say for example you add a curve. Let's say we have let me use a path, for example. A path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm looking at this from the top. I'm in edit mode of the curve. So I'm just going to try to make it look like a small, like the spiral staircase, something like this. No, it's not meant to be like perfectly accurate. It's just an example, right? Something like this. Yeah, so something like this. I think we're good. Then, okay, let me use proportional editing ish. Um, so we have something like this, right? For the you've created a curve now that looks like the wall of the spiralness of the guardrails. So the one advantage of curves is that you can actually manipulate their geometry in procedurally. So say for example, you come here and you come to this geometry here, you add some extrusion to it, you can extrude it, right? But that might require some tweaking. You could do it this way. Okay, so now it's not extruded on the plane, on the what they call it, on the plane I wanted it to do it. But you could actually, you know what, maybe not this way, but yeah, you will still use the curves actually, because this will require you trying to manipulate the twisting and stuff. But you know what I would do instead is this, right? Now I have the curve for the path, right?
Yeah.
I would now convert this curve. I'll convert this curve to a mesh, right? What's mesh? You could still do with the curve, but there will be too many tweaking. I don't want to go to that. It might confuse you and stuff. So, yeah. Now you select everything, and then you extrude them on the vertical z-axis. Okay. Now, now this is that as I extruded it, it's kind of looks like the gap. Of course, it's this not big. It will be much wider, but you get the point. So it's going to be like that vertical effectiveness. Now to add some thickness to it, of course, you can just simply add your solidified modifier. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So make sure you click even thickness so that the thickness is going to be uniform across all the business. So now you can add the thickness to your desire. And voila, then you can, because I think the glass material is okay, I'm not seeing this. Let me share my entire screen. So I think the guardrail is probably going to be something glassy, like glass. So you're going to add a glass material to it. Look at an example here, you know. Yeah, like this one. You see this one, this guardrail, right? So that's completely glass. So so once you create something like that, you just convert it to glass. Of course, you have the thickness and everything, the lighting and stuff. So yeah, that's a tip on how to use the curve to do that. Okay, so you just use the curve to create that that effect. Okay, and you could do without the curve, but okay, let me show you how to. I would have done it without the curve if I was doing this. Okay, so something I would do something like maybe add a mesh, then a circle. Bear in mind, I'm adding a circle, not a cylinder. Okay, so now in edit mode, I may just delete one of the vertices so that it will break the continuous loop. Then I'll select the one of the edges, right? Then I'll tap O. Now it's already enabled, so I disable it. But if you tap O on your keyboard, it will enable proportional editing. Proportional editing is just a way of saying that you can, whatever you do to one to whatever is selected, it will kind of fade out the effect of that to the connecting to the nearest or to the proximity of the vertices or the vertices around it. So let's say if I grab this and move it somewhere, you see that the if I increase this circle of influence, now I'm increasing and reducing the circle of influence by scrolling in and scrolling out on my mouse wheel.
Okay. Yeah.
So by increasing this circle of influence, it's affecting how much of an influence the movement, this grabbing, is affecting the adjacent or the closest vertices and objects, and we mesh the vertices basically around it. So that's just what proportional editing is all about. And the way to do is tap O, or is that a tap O, or you come here and click this here. So that's where it is. Either you click this or you tap O. Okay. So now when you click that, you see that there are a few options. If you click this drop down, so you can have smooth. That's just it's like the fall off of how the influence is. So let's say, for example, I grab this and now let me use another shape to explain it much better. Let's say a cube. Oh, what did I add? Let's say a cube, right? And bring it here. And for you to understand it properly, I'm going to subdivide this cube into so many sides. Let's say, I don't know, quite a few sides, okay? So now I've subdivided the cube. Now, if I want to use proportional editing, let's say let me remove the proportional editing. So if I want to grab this, by default, if I press G to grab, it's going to move only what I selected and manipulate it. Or what if I wanted to like move the entire region in a fall off in a gradual way, I'll use proportional editing by pressing O and then grab. Notice that the whole thing is like
okay.
You get the point?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can, and of course, scrolling in and scrolling out to make the circle of influence bigger. So that means much more things, or you can scroll it down and only a few things will be affected by the change, right?
Okay.
Now, like this drop down here, the circle, it's this all this they do the same thing generally, but it's just talking about how the influence how the fall off is going to be. So by default now, look at the shape of this curve. That's like the influence. So it's going to like fade off the effect. So the closest things to the object will be most affected, then the effects will be gradually fading out as it goes outside, like as the gets farther from the circle. So, but if I selected a different fall off, let's say this fair now, you see that the influence is kind of the way it influences is different. Okay, let me look for something else. Let's say shark, right? You can see how the influence is looking somewhat different. It's not like the same curve. Let me use something more, constant. Constant, everything is just going to move along with it. Everything. Because that means the influence is going to be like 100% influence here, and even at the edge of the circle is going to be the same 100%. That's what constant means. So you can play around with any of this, but usually I use this. It's all up to you, honestly. Okay, so that's the smooth. It's the fall off will be smooth. And then one thing is this. So let me duplicate this to the maybe to the y-axis. So now notice that this is one object, this is another object, right? But if I move this, let me disconnect this. If I click on this and I move this, the second object is also being affected, right? You notice that?
Yeah.
But say, for example, I want only this object to be affected, or I want it to such a way that it's going to trace out from the proximity with the objects that are connected, with how much they are connected to this the selected object, the selected part. So if I want it to be specifically to connected, I can just tick this connected only. So once I tick that, you can see that only the object that I selected is connected is going to be affected.
Yeah.
So reason why I explained that is so that you can understand what I was doing here. Okay. So let me just delete this and continue what I was doing. So like I said, how I would do the spiral step if it was me. So now if initially if I have this connected only unticked, and I click this and I move this, even the tail is also moving around, everything is moving around it, but that's not what I want. I want only this top to move, and it's going to be like a snake, like that spiral effect. So I'm going to select that connected only. So it's going to follow the fall off is going to follow how much they're connected. So this is connected to this, connected to this, connected to this, this is connected to this. All of them, the chain is going to follow the chain as opposed to proximity. Okay, you get the points now.
Okay. Yeah.
So now if I grab this on the z-axis, and I increase the fall off, yeah, now the spiral is working somewhat properly, and now we have the spiral. All right. So notice that I didn't use the curve this time. I used the circle. So it's really up to you. You could use curve, you could use circle. I just felt the curve was easier. And then the same process, you extrude on the z-axis. Make sure you have everything selected before you extrude it. Okay, so let me do this. So you A to select everything, then E to extrude then you tap Z on the z-axis, and then voila, you have the guardrails. Okay.
Okay.
All right, good. So that's just how to achieve the guardrail. Of course, you add the solidify, and you can even make it smoother to avoid all these sharp edges. So maybe on top of solidify, you want to add a subdivision surface. Okay, maybe try not to go above 3 or 4. I don't think you ever need to go above 4 unless your computer can handle it. But usually it's good practice not to go above 3 or 4. So it's not going to be too detailed, and definitely do not apply it yet. At least don't apply it yet. So and then you can just shade auto smooth, and then now you have this smooth strip. Okay, so yeah, that's how to do it. So is there any other question that you might have? You know how to add this lighting, of course. You know how to add lighting?
I mean,
I think if you add a lightning to one of these stairs and then do array to duplicate across board.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't want to mention that because I wanted to figure it out on its own. But nice one, Da Silva. I didn't want to say it. I intentionally didn't want to say it because I wanted him to figure it out. I knew he figured it out in the last one. You did awesome in the Roman temple that you modeled just now. So how you added the array and stuff. So I wanted you to like overcome those challenges yourself to figure out, okay, not having to duplicate things and stuff using the array modifiers. So where is it? Yeah. So okay, where's the stairs? A second. So now that Da Silva has has spilled the beans, so of course what you do is you just model one of the stairs, just one, and then you use the array to duplicate the whole thing up to the height. Now this is it, right? You could use the array, but if you want the whole thing to still have the, you know what, just use the array, because if I would have asked you to apply the array modifier so you can now fill in and join the whole thing, but so much. I will tolerate it if you just leave it at the array. You don't need to join. Okay, I will tolerate it. All right, so what else? So you have the curves, the guardrails, the array. So yeah, for the piano, let me see if there's any way I can help you with the grand piano. So because I cannot really find any grand piano that is consistent, like the particular design at different angles, I will allow you to, although I think they generally have the same look, so I'll allow some bit of flexibility. Okay, so you can choose which grand piano you model, but generally the features has to be the same, right? So that's to have a stool, that's to have 2 legs. Of course, that's to be black. Then of course you tag your name, you know how I added the name. So you add your name like that. Yeah, on it. And because I didn't teach you texture painting, I completely skipped my mind. I'd have taught you that. So I'll allow you to use text. Okay, so you can just add the text, then you parent the text to the object, then you use it. I'll allow that, right? So yeah, add your name, and of course your pictures will be on wall frames, at least 3-4 wall frames at the background. Your creativity is what you need here. And Yeah, I think this is another. Let me save this image. I'll send you as much reference images for the grand piano that I want, as much as possible. Then you can now. The grand piano should be black. You know what?
Yeah, the grand
Yeah, the
piano
grand
should be
piano. The
black.
grand piano can be black. Or what I want is I want it to be wooden, and I want that wooden effect to show. Now I would still like it if it's black, but if it's black, it might not really show the wood texture properly. So what I will do is let me just show you how you can create how you can turn it to black, right? I'll send you the wood material. Like I said, I'll send you the materials you use. So let's say we have, okay, let me use this. So hide this and material preview. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this block the wooden material that the grand piano is supposed to be. Okay, so wood, let's say black wood. Now, initially, you might have needed to do this with a third-party software like Photoshop, a picture editing software like Photoshop or something. But you can still do it in Blender, and I want you to do it in Blender. I want to see your skills in that. So now we have the material here, black wood. I'll navigate to where I have a wood texture saved on my PC, and then apply it on this. Okay, so if you have, I'm sure you have. I showed you how to enable Node Wrangler add-on. So what you do is you click on the Principles BSDF. That's the default BSDF here. I press Control Shift T. Okay, and then you come to where you have the. I'll send you the texture, of course. Don't worry. So let me just navigate to where I have it here. Wood. I think this is it. I don't know, not this one. I think this is it. Yeah, so okay, let's just use this one. So you select everything and then you add principle. So by default, Blender will set up the node for you, the node properly, all the node properly for you. So now you have a wooden material that is properly done in Blender. Okay. So for now, of course, if this is not applied properly, wrap cube projection. This is just for me. Oof, ruined it. It made it even worse. I'll just leave it like this for now. All right, so the bumpiness is too much for the wood. So let's show it. So what I will do is this. You see this scale here? I'll bring it to 0.1, maybe even less. But let's just I think 0.1 is okay. Let's do that's 0.1. So the bumpiness is not too rough like that. So now for the colors, now it's this type of light wooden color. What I will do is this. I'll add in a color RGB node. Okay, you can just search it if you don't know. RGB curve, rather. Sorry, RGB curve. RGB curves. That's what I wanted to add. Okay, it's going to bring up this node. So now I want you to, they are supposed to feed in the color. So this is the base color, right? I want you to feed in the base color through this RGB node to the principal shader. Now you can either come here, feed it through color, then bring this color, feed this through here, or you can just click on it and then hover it over in between the noodles. And when it's highlighted, when the noodle connector is highlighted, then just leave it and it will automatically feed it through. So by default, nothing will happen, of course. So with this node now, you cannot adjust the color of the base color of the object. So if you want it to be darker, you just bring this curve. If you use Photoshop, this curve should not be so hard for you. But basically, let me just, so you can just make it darker or something. You can bring it down until you reach your desired darkness. And yeah, something like this. So this I would want you to. So by this, you can see that it still retains that wood looking texture. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, the reflection may not let you see properly from this from rendered view. Maybe I bring it up down a little bit. So good, yeah. So I still, you see that it's still retain that wooden texture. That's what I still want you to have. So you can, I will send you the texture I'll send you will be a wooden texture, something like this, but you can just darken it with this node. and make it black. Not completely black. It's not really black per se. It's kind of like a really dark wood. So your discretion is allowed here. So yeah, this is what I want for the piano body. And for the piano body, okay, so what else? Now you notice that the wood itself is very well finished. So the surface is looking very, very shiny, right? So what you would do is still using the same texture here. So now you come to this roughness here, this invert rather, under this roughness. You follow the roughness that is going through invert and then to the roughness here. So what I would like you to do, and I don't know if this will work perfectly to my desire, but I think what I want to do is maybe remove the roughness entirely. Okay, remove it entirely. But then it's okay. Let's remove it entirely. Then you can now reduce the roughness itself. Reduce the roughness, not completely zero per se, but maybe something like 0.02 or something. Of course, as I reduce the roughness, it's becoming very, very, very much more shiny. All right.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like you to do. Maybe reduce the roughness. How I would have done this if it was me was to do something a little bit more complex, but I think I'll tolerate this. So let's just use that, right? So because I would have used a multiply node to crank up the smoothness, but that's another. It might be a bit confusing for you. It's not so big a deal, but it might be a bit confusing. So yeah, that's how I'll get the smoothness, right? So what else? Let's see. I'm trying to look for things that might give you some troubles. So the piano keys are no problem at all because of course you create one and then you array the hell out of it. All right. And then yeah, get some more pictures that shows how a grand piano looks like from the top. So but from top it looks like a what's that shape again? Maybe like a mango, I don't know. It's a weird shape. So you will get yeah, something like this. You see that curved shape. So you can model that. I believe you can. All right. And yeah. So look at this. Is there anything that I think might be a problem for you? Please let me know.
I don't know. I think until we start.
Why
sorry,
I want to,
why I
what
want
did
that
address
say?
Why I want to address as much as possible now is because I have a full-time job. So during the week, I don't know how busy I would be. And I'm usually very busy during the week. So I would not want a situation where you're trying to reach me and you're unable to reach me. I would feel bad, right? I want to be able to meet with you to walk you through whatever you need. So that's what I'm trying to get as much as possible of now. So, but at the same time, feel free to reach out to me during the week. If I'm busy, of course, I'll let you know. But feel free to reach out to me during the week. You might want to tend towards the evening time or I don't know, anytime. But just send WhatsApp message. If I don't reply, then you can now call or something. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, you can still reach out if you have some troubles. So yeah, like anything in Blender, anything you're modeling, even if you're modeling a car or something that you consider to be very complex, just don't look at the big object first. Break it down to the bare minimum. Like look at this now. The chair here is just basically a cube that is bigger at the top. It's very narrow and long and bigger at the top, and something like that. Then it's you use the array to make it fall, and then break it down to the individual components, and then look how you can grow from there. Don't try to look at the whole thing. Ooh, how do I model something so big? No, go to the individual components. Like of course the piano keys. Just focus on a single key, model that key, focus your energy and model it perfectly, and then you use the array to spread it out. Then the legs, sorry, I don't. Then the legs and of course all the individual everything. So that's just it. It's not so much of a big deal. That's how to that's the approach you should have towards modeling things. All right.
Okay.
So spiral stairs, I don't think there's any issue about it. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to think this project is way too simple for you.
No. It is very hard. It is very hard. Trust me.
Okay, so luckily for you, you have 2 weeks for this. I'm going to be giving you ample time, especially that so you can have time to catch up on the previous assignments also. So I'll be giving 2 weeks for the project. Yeah,
Okay.
I believe 2 weeks is sufficient, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks is fine. So yeah. I also have a day job, so I'll just have to, So
Okay,
for the most part,
you have a full-time job also.
yeah, but for the most part, what I normally do is I try and finish. So how I've been achieving these assignments actually is, if I have work for the week, I ensure I finish by Tuesday, so that I
Okay.
take advantage of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the most part. So
Okay.
yeah, I have a big project on the day job that is coming. I'll figure out how I'm going to balance my time, but I think 2 weeks is it's perfect for me.
Okay, good. Do you work
Yeah.
weekends also, or do you have a weekend also busy?
No. So my weekends, I'm normally just chilling. I do other. I'm a gamer. Let me just say it like that. So
Yeah,
I
that's
have
fantastic.
kind of some challenges that I normally try and finish over the weekend.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that that reminds me. You mentioned that you were modeling your PS5 controller. So were you able to?
I said that now, since we started this boot camp, I've realized that for me to get better, I just start taking small challenges, right?
Okay.
So start modeling things in the house. That's what I said. So I think after this boot camp, right? After we finished
Mhm.
everything, I've realized my weakness is not being detailed when
Okay.
it comes to modeling things, and so that is what I want to start perfecting first, because the goal of what I'm doing all this, I have a VR headset here. I
Okay,
have actually I have the Quest 3, and I have my PS5 one, the PSVR headset. So that's why I got into this. So I decided, let me start with Blender first,
okay.
get better at it, and then I can jump into into Unity and XR, and
Yeah.
then proceed from there. Because my goal overall at the end of all this is to now take advantage of virtual reality in e-learning, because that is my profession.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's fantastic.
so that's the goal, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Actually, that's great. That's awesome. I was even thinking you were going to be more interested in game development for consoles. You can develop console games with Unity and Unreal Engine also.
Yeah, I haven't. Okay, I haven't thought about that, but I think if I get better with the time, why not?
I mean, no, it's just taking one step at a time. No need to overwhelm.
Yeah,
There's
one
no
step at
rush.
a time. So let me just start with the basics first. Get
Exactly.
my feet wet, get familiar with things, and
Yeah.
then I think I'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I must say, I'm really proud of you, Brian. I observing your progress and your dedication and stuff. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm sure you do great things. You do fantastic things. So yeah, I'm rooting for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
awesome. Yeah, that's it. I'm proud of you. So don't be jealous.
He's a professional. I've seen his work.
And I know
He has given me more pressure.
exactly. So he's like, the pressure is like, ooh, now you have
Yeah.
the terrain is tough, so you
Yes.
have to
Keep up.
double up now. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I think that's majorly all um for the class. So I'm just trying to give you some more tips for like your career in 3D development as a whole. So 3D development is just like a generic term for game development, 3D modeling, animation, etc. Um, so it's like an umbrella term. So for your career as a 3D developer, all my experiences and my advices, tips and tricks. So that's what I'm just trying to drop now. This is the end of Blender class for Weekend Code. Okay, so your project is what we're waiting for now. So I'll send you the proper document. So what I just did now was to explain what you'll be expecting for your project. So before the end of today, hopefully because I still have some some work to catch up on. But before the end of today, I'll send you a proper document with all the reference pictures and everything you will need, all the materials and yeah, all the materials and all the different projects. So you have Node Wrangler enabled, Brian.
I'll have to check.
Okay. Let me just show you what I mean in case you don't have it enabled. I need to enable it because reason why I wanted to enable Node Wrangler is because I didn't really go in depth on how on each of these maps and what they use, how to apply them. Okay, and that's actually important to get a more photorealistic looking texture. And there's not too much time to go into it because photorealism is like another whole rabbit hole on its own. That is a whole topic, like something like a whole course on its own. So I took a course on photorealism. So there's so much. This is just like the basic way of doing creating a photorealistic material. So why that's why I wanted to add Node Wrangler, because Node Wrangler you can just add all the textures in a very seamless way, right? And without having to worry about the tweaking of the settings and blah blah blah. So the only thing you just need to notice once you add the Node Wrangler, once you use Node Wrangler to add, what I mean by that is say if you just click on the principled and then Control Shift T. Sorry, Control Shift T, and it will add you navigate to where you have the particular specific material you want to add. You select everything, make sure you select everything, and then you click on Principled Texture Setup. So it will automatically set up all the specific setup for you. So by default, of course, I mentioned that it's going to be it's usually going to be the depth channel, which is like the displacement, right? That tries to fake the how bumpy or how rough or how smooth the surface of an object is. By default, it's going to be too much. So you want to crank this down. The scale, you want to crank this down to like 0.1 or something. So, but usually it's discretionary. So there are for some materials. Say for example, let me add something else. Say for example, we have something like a brick material. Let me add a brick material for you. What do I have? Or something. I'm trying to say, let's say cobblestone. Yeah, something like this, right? And I added something like this, right? So this is this material is supposed to have some real depth. So I didn't really go into photorealism properly, because in photorealism you can actually add some more bumps to it. Let me not go into that. So, but in this you might want the material, of course, to be a little bit more have more depth. Like the thickness of the depth should be more. So you want to leave this at 1. Okay, not necessarily having to reduce it, maybe like 0.7 or something at most. So you won't really see much effects because this is a plane. For objects that are more intensive, more detailed like this, for materials that are more detailed like this, you will need to add a displacement modifier, modifier. All right. So should I show you? Maybe I should just show you what I mean. Okay, so let me show you with a plane. Okay, a plane will explain it much better. So let me add in a plane. Okay, let me scale it up a bit. Add subdivision surface. Now I know I didn't talk about this. You want to make this as detailed as possible. Let's say 30, maybe even 50. Okay, good. So you want to make this as detailed as possible. Then on top of that, you'll see add the subdivision surface modifier to make it as maybe crank it up to 3 or something. Right now, in the modifier, you still add something called, you want that deform now. You add a what is it? Displace. Okay. Now that it displays, you add in a new texture, and then under the new texture, don't worry about how I'm doing this, because it's it's going to be wait. Now I'm a bit confused. Okay, are these the displacements? and this is roughness. So this displacement. All right. And yeah. So yeah, you of course you don't want to crack down the displacement effect here. Maybe something like this. So it's really largely tricky. It's a little bit more advanced. So I really don't. I mean, if it's not necessary, then let's not poke that rabbit hole. Okay, so but for objects like this, you largely want to add something like that. So notice that it's kind of creating that like there's still a bit of tweak I still need to do on it, but it's kind of creating that kind of bumpiness of this cobblestones effect. So that's like some more when you're going more in depth into photorealism. So I didn't do this more in the proper way that I'm supposed to tweak and the whole thing. I just want to show an example, right? So that's just what I mean. So for materials like this, you want to be more detailed about that. But for something like as plain as a wood, so there's not much displacement like that. So you might not really need to do this kind of a headache because it will be more forgiving on your computer hardware. All right. So yeah, that's basically it from me today. And if you have any questions or you get stuck anywhere, feel free to reach out to me during the week, like I said. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. And yeah, nice. I look forward to seeing what you do. So I'll send you the documentation for the project, and also the instruction on how to submit will also be in the documentation and everything. So yeah, any questions on everything we've done so far from the beginning? Any questions or any observation or something you want to tell me? Da Silva, Ryan?
No,
Yeah.
No question here for now.
Okay.
No question from my end as well. Yeah, this has been pretty interesting. So yeah, I look forward to getting better at this. I think it's pretty interesting. So in case if I have any questions, I'll definitely reach out.
All right.
Yes.
Great. So is there any observation with the entire for the entire weekend code, like for the Blender class that you feel maybe we could have improved or we could have incorporated something more into the learning process that would enhance the ease of learning and everything? So all criticism and positive criticism are welcome.
Yeah. I think maybe I think either one or two. So I think having these sessions recorded and uploaded as soon as possible could really help. I think for someone that is new, someone who is coming to learn something as complicated as Blender, and of course you cannot grasp a lot of things in the 2-hour session, right? So sometimes you need that kind of reference to be able to maybe do your assignment or practice something that was done, and and also considering it's the weekend code is normally over the weekend, so you'll find for the most part someone has gone through their boot camp and then they do other things because it's a weekend, they end up forgetting. So coming back on Monday or Tuesday to kind of brush up and start getting into it without those resources could be a challenge. Then I think the next thing is I totally understand the boot camp because this is an initiative that is trying to bring the African people into this scene. I was supposed to join a XR bootcamp that was hosted by, I think, XR Bootcamp, but I realized it's very complicated. The people who are joining that initiative or that bootcamp were well versed with what is going on, and I had to speak with a guy called. He's Tanzanian. I am Kenyan. Okay. I had to speak with. I think it's Bernard Masika, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
we worked together as well.
Yes. So because this was all overwhelming for me, I had to consider my neighbor because he's our neighboring. So I reached out to him on LinkedIn, and I just asked him, okay, how did you? Because I've realized he's doing big things, and I
Yeah,
just reached out to him and I asked him what should I do. He was first of all trying to see if you can get into the boot camp, and then try and follow African VR related channels. So that's why I followed AR VR Africa, and of course this one, African XR. So I figured, okay, instead of starting with Western people who, they are more privileged in terms of resources, like, white people are born with computers as opposed to us. You have to start from scratch. By the time we start getting into a computer knowledge, we are already in our, we are almost finishing our teen phase, because I think after 18 is when now the first thing is like you need to learn computer packages and things like that, as opposed to white people or people in the Western world where they have a computer from birth, right? And you find by the time someone is 10 years old, they're already familiar with Photoshop, while us, we are learning when we are older. So
that's true.
So that's why I joined this. I said, okay, let me see what I can be able to capture, grasp, see what I can understand, because I've been going through Blender tutorials and it's a little bit complicated. I wanted someone to kind of take me through from scratch. Okay, this is what the interface is. This is how things are done and things like that. And I'm so happy I really joined this. I've looked at the learning platform. I can see it was done earlier. I'm surprised how I missed that, but I mean, here we are now. So those are the two things I would probably want us to do. I would probably recommend improvement, access to the resources as soon as possible. And also, we keep push, and then of course we keep pushing this thing to a lot of people, so that the motherland is able to get into this. Yeah, so those are my recommendations. Otherwise, this has been, I've never challenged myself, especially with this type of things. So I'm really proud of myself, and I just want to, I'm looking forward
I'm proud of you too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to see what I'll be able to achieve in the next coming months also. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you very much for that. That's very important, and you make a very valid point. So I want to apologize on behalf of African XR for that. So we had quite a bit of technical challenges as regards to the uploading. So initially it was done instantaneously. So like the last weekend code, it was done instantaneously, but unfortunately this one we had some technical challenges. The person that was, you notice Masurishi has not been on the call for the past few classes. So he's at a location where the reception is bad, and I don't know, he's been constantly on the move and stuff. So it's not really very available right now. So unfortunately, so sorry for that. And I myself, I don't have access to the drives that are being used. So I may, even though I have the recording on my own end, I can't really upload them, because I don't have access to those drives. Right. So so sorry about that. I'm sure because this is being recorded, so your concerns will be noted and changes, and I'm sure the next weekend code will be a lot more seamless than this. So okay, so thank you for that. And yeah, you make a valid point as regards the fact that the duration, that like not too much can be covered in such a short period. Okay, so that's valid. So for that, the only way I can help, I think, is I'll still remain somewhat accessible even after the weekend course. So maybe you're working on a personal project, you run to a brick wall, you can reach out to me. How do I do this? How do I do this? So I can point out some things to you, and we work on it together. I'll show you some pointers. Okay, so feel free to do that. If after the of course weekend code and anytime. So I think you have my number, my WhatsApp number, so you can just reach out to me.
I'm actually saving your number, and Da Silva, as I see, is also good at this, so I'll definitely reach out as well.
Sorry, I can't hear. I didn't hear the last thing you said.
Oh, I said I have I have your number, and also I'm going to save Da Silva's number as well.
All right, good. Excellent.
Good.
Excellent.
Awesome.
All right,
So, yeah.
so cheers, guys. It's been a pleasure, and see you in the next one. So keep building, keep doing hard things. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep great.
All right, guys. Thanks, and enjoy your weekend, guys.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye for now.
Bye.